Has anybody watched Saturday Night Live? If you haven't had the chance to see Saturday Night Live, you may have not have heard what was going on Saturday Night Live. Alec Baldwin is engaged in a high-profile feud with conservative talk show host Sean Hannity. Over the past couple of years, they both been duking it out over who was right over the war in Iraq. And Sean Hannity called Alec Baldwin a no-talent actor, and Alec Baldwin called Sean Hannity a construction worker. And they've been trading barbs ever since. Well, recently when Alec Baldwin got into his little controversy where he was demeaning his daughter, Sean Hannity was ever so gleeful to put that on television and try to ridicule Alec Baldwin. Well, now that Alec Baldwin won an Emmy for his show 30 Rock, he had the opportunity to host Saturday Night Live. And he recruited Dan Aykroyd, the former Saturday Night Live host and co-star, to portray Minority Leader John Boehner, the Republican Party, my local representative. Along with Boehner was Eric Cantor, portrayed by, I think, Fred Armisen, and many other Saturday Night Live cast members. They were openly mocking the Republicans for their opposition to the Obama tax stimulus plan. And they also took shots at Rush Limbaugh, Sean Hannity, and Michael Savage, as well as the Drudge Report. Overall, the right has been very vocal against Obama, and they've been using that opposition to try to create the new Ronald Reagan or the new Gingrich 2.0. They're trying to find a voice, but right now they're finding themselves in more scrutiny because the Republicans and most of the conservatives on talk radio are out of ideas. So instead of coming up with reasonable ideas, they go to name calling and calling people socialist or liberal or whatever they can think of. So Saturday Night Live took shots at that and ridiculed Sean Hannity and Rush Limbaugh and Michael Savage. Eventually, they'll hear about it and they'll use it as another way to get on the radio to demean Saturday Night Live, call NBC liberal and everything else. But really, they're not going to be too ribbed about it because they've been mocked before. It's just now when the Republicans are on the losing end of the stick, it really hurts them. Now, honestly, I don't have nothing against the Republican Party. The Republican Party stands for values, but their values are not getting hurt right now because everybody's so partisan. Mike Turner, Gene Smith, Steve Austria, Jim Jordan, and John Boehner have all voted against the tax stimulus plan. John Boehner represents Westchester, but a part of his district covers Dayton and Huber Heights, which is in Montgomery County. Dayton's been hit hard with job loss, home foreclosure, as well as many people having to resort to government assistance. Now, it's not the fault of the Democratic Party nor the Republican Party. It's just because economic turmoil has resulted in people losing their jobs, and people are now turning to the government for assistance to keep themselves from losing their homes, health care, insurance, and the necessities to keep them surviving. Unfortunately, for some people who are not in that situation yet, they want to demean the people who are trying to ask for government assistance, and that's not going to happen. Not on my watch. As the Democratic Party had celebrated a victory against the Republican obstruction, I believe that the Republicans found their voice in trying to be that party that's going to oppose everything Obama puts out because they fear that Obama may bankrupt the country. But didn't George W. Bush authorize 2 wars and got us into this quagmire where we cannot leave exactly at the appropriate time? And of course, nobody's talking about the war right now because, you know, when they talk about the war, it gets worse. My thing here is simple, that for the Saturday Night Live cast, it was like a gold mine because when Senator John McCain introduced Alaskan Governor Sarah Palin to the scene, Saturday Night Live said, wow, doesn't that look like Tina Fey? Well, Tina Fey now is on 30 Rock, and she was recruited to come back for the rest of the election season to mock Tina. Well, Tina Fey mocked Sarah Palin, and it gotten so much rave reviews. Tina Fey got an Emmy for her performance. Now, the right is all upset because they believe that Saturday Night Live had cost John McCain and Sarah Palin the election. And unfortunately, it was not because of that. It's because of the negative campaigning that the Republicans used against Republicans, oppositions like Ron Paul or the Democratic candidate Barack Obama. I don't know really honestly how the Republicans are going to react to it because Saturday Night Live mocks everybody. They mock everybody on television, whether it's President Obama, former President George W. Bush, or former President Bill Clinton. They're going to mock anybody that's target for a controversy, I guess. But seeing the times of what the economic recession is and the Republicans being obstructionist again, I fear that if Mike Turner, Gene Schmidt, Steve Austria, Jim Jordan, and of course the Minority Leader John Boehner all represent this area of Ohio, unfortunately, they need to get their acts together, because if this thing works, they're finished. So, I know Sean Hannity and Alec Baldwin will go at it one more time, and I'm not going to take either side, because I think that Alec Baldwin, he's doing his thing and Sean Hannity doing his thing. But I believe that with Alec Baldwin hosting Saturday Night Live, he knew he was going to take a shot at Sean Hannity, right? If you didn't know, go to the link that I provide you about Alec Baldwin and Sean Hannity getting into it. Add a little Mark Levin. There you go.